Hello everyone, Sigmar here. The latest Scion tournament concluded with Jotak joining the ranks of Scion champions, so congratulations to him. We had a lot of great games in the tournament and a lot of new players joined the competition. I couldn't be more excited. There are some things I wanted to talk about regarding the tournament, so let's do this. I've collected some data from the tournament and compiled some stats that I would like to share with you guys. First of all, race popularity. Across 118 games played, the keiron was picked 51 times, making it by far the most popular race with 43% of all picks. Behind keiron we have genetron with 38 picks and 32% popularity, then the xayid with 15 games and 30%. Naturally, because of the tournament's format, the classic races were not played a lot, but the interesting fact is that we had exactly 0 Zerg games in the tournament. Sad Zerg face. So it comes as no surprise that keiron is the most popular race, and there are a number of reasons for that. First of all, it's the most unique, the most fresh, the coolest of the Scion races, and I am aware that the last part is pretty subjective. But here's the thing, from what I've seen, people feel like genetron is just an alternative Terran and xayid is just a mechanically different Zerg. Like aesthetically, keiron is so far ahead in the uniqueness department, it's not even close. And people like cool, technologically advanced, powerful aliens. Their whole shtick seems to be that they are like cyborgy race. Solstice, the creator of the Scion mode, and keiron themselves said that even their biggest units like paragons are a type of cyborgs, which is pretty cool. And keiron is definitely different from Protoss in a lot of ways. It's a living proof that you can actually add a new alien race to StarCraft and it won't feel like they are just a different kind of Protoss. And that's just when we look at the race's themes and aesthetics. Then we've got mechanics, and again the race feels great. It has a lot of very cool unique units like we've never seen before, fuses, inducers, all around cool stuff. It has flying buildings, I mean, how cool is that? It has a unique supply mechanic, unique production, it's so different from other races but at the same time it fits into StarCraft so well. And then there is the keiron tech tree. I've always felt like Protoss was the one race that always provided the most flexibility in terms of builds, but Protoss pales in comparison when keiron enters the stage. The race feels so flexible with so many options that even if in higher level play meta forces some things, like having to always open a certain way in a matchup, there are still so many options, so many possible transitions. I can totally see why keiron is the most popular Scion race. Not to mention, before the infamous keiron nerf patches, it also totally dominated other Scion races, which might have been a factor for some people. Speaking of domination, let's talk about genetron and the Scion balance situation. It is no secret that the tournament showcased a problem with a certain machine gun car unit in the mod. There is no denying that Spitfires dominate early game. They can punish greed, they can punish low defenses, they trade well with most units, they give map control and also they are not like a huge investment for the player. They also require no tech and gas as they are the most basic unit genetron has access to. We've seen it mostly in GVK, but Solstice claims that there is a problem in other matchups too and I have no reason to not believe him. When I am recording this, there has already been a patch that addresses the problem, but we don't know the outcome of the patch yet. Anyway, Spitfires gave genetron players a lot of power, which oftentimes resulted in snowballing victories, unless the match entered later stages of the game. Overall, genetron had almost 70% win rate in the games it was featured in. Because we didn't get a lot of games for other matchups, I will speak of genetron versus keiron now. My personal, subjective feelings is that keiron was definitely struggling in the early game after the production nerfs. I've seen it versus genetron, but also versus xayid and it wasn't pretty. Fortunately, some changes have already been made to address that. But the combination of the keiron weak early game and genetron early game domination was really out of control. Nevertheless, when keiron stabilized and entered higher tech, I feel like there wasn't a lot of stuff that could stop the race from winning. Units like Meridians, Myriads, Inducers and Paragons are very powerful. Yes, very expensive too, but with enough volume at times it felt impossible to deal with higher tech keiron. The most devastating thing that I have seen was the Paradox Prison plus Meridian Convergence combo, which I have been a victim to like twice. So I feel like there is this dynamic in a matchup where early on keiron struggles to survive, but once it starts rolling it doesn't stop. Of course keiron needs to survive the early game and not be too far behind, which is not easy. This is just my personal feeling though, and unfortunately even if this is the case, the problem is far too complex to solve it easily and a number of changes would probably have to be introduced. So we have seen a lot of keiron played and a lot of genetron, but the saddest thing ever is how unpopular the xayid is. We have a pretty low sample size because if I recall correctly only 12 players played the tournament, but still we only saw 15 xayid games and I think only one player chose it as their main race. So while the keiron is the cool, fresh and unique race, and with genetron being basically what I feel like is an easier terrain and also a powerhouse right now, xayid just isn't as cool or as powerful. Sadly, there isn't much that can be done. Mechanically the race is sound, though it probably lacks some kind of unique theme that would set it apart and gave it more appeal. One can argue that debuffs are kind of a xayid thing, but I don't think it's that strong of a theme. I think models are the weakest part of xayid, as units were sculpted from different Zerg parts, but there is nothing that can be done without Solstice investing months of his life or spending thousands of dollars to get new unique models for the race. So in the end we have an unpopular bug race without a strong mechanical theme that people won't play when there are shinies like keiron right in front of them. To not end the video on a pessimistic note, let me just tell you that we had a lot of great games in the tournament, with new wonderful players like Jin Hunald appearing for the first time. We saw a lot of fun builds, we saw a huge diversity of openers and unit compositions, especially from keiron, and it all felt so fresh to watch and experience. Congratulations to Jotak one more time for winning the tournament, and I hope we will see the next one soon. That's all from me, goodbye guys, please maybe try playing some xayid in the future.